is the Veve app on your phone. So it appears that Veve, which I think might be owned by a company called Medium, so there's a lot of unknowns here, has formed a partnership with Marvel. They are selling digital comics in limited quantities. So it's been almost a year since I started collecting digital collectibles, NFTs, comics, whatever you want to call them. I think we're still trying to figure that out. And I think it's great when you reach your kind of anniversary. I always want to look at the bigger picture, kind of step back. Do I think this thing is still going to keep going? Should I keep buying these things? I don't know. And so today I just want to talk, do a deep dive, discuss my thoughts on it all, and make some determinations on whether or not I should go forward. So it's more of a discussion than necessarily me laying out everything. I just wanted to go through my thought processes. Okay, so I think that one of the things that I've learned over the past year is that it's really a global community that is collecting these, and that really speaks to whether or not I think this is going to be a niche thing that no one or just a small pocket of society is going to be interested in. And really, we're seeing it's a global phenomenon, which is, of course, taking advantage of the blockchain technology. And so that, from that perspective, I think that's a good sign. But if you look at the market and really the crypto market in general, it is just in the tank. And so let's look at some numbers. Always good to look at numbers and do some analysis. So I'll bring up a couple different ones. So one of the ones that I like to look at is a guy on Twitter. I'll link all this below, and you should really follow him, and that's Puddin' Cheeks. And he shows a lot of different statistics, but the one I really look at is the amount of gems being purchased in the app. I'll put the graph up here so we can take a look at it, and you'll see that it's really gone down. It's kind of stabilized, which is a good sign. And there's lots of different indicators in here. And as you well know, one of the biggest things that happened only about a month ago is that they really stopped off-app buying. So now if you really want to get a gem, you're really going to have to put some fiat in. So that's a change. Another person you should be following is Bravos Assassin on Twitter. Once again, will be linked below. This guy does a number of things. He runs this website, which I highly recommend, which is vvsetlist.com. And I go there. Obviously, you can see all of the different sets based on points. But what I do is go in there and sort by the amount of MCPs per dollar. And then you're kind of seeing the best bang for your buck, if you want to call it. And you can also look at the comics as well. And people are going to be doing this. Even if you, once again, I always say, even if you don't like the MCP, other people are going to be interested in it. It's going to be a thing. The next person, which I think you should definitely look at, and I look at their numbers all the time, is Vivi Fox. And she's relatively new. I think she's only been around maybe 2-3 months. I'm not sure, but she has incredible data. I think she just announced that she is doing some sort of partnership now with Omi the Clown, so that's spectacular. But you can see all kinds. I'll put some stuff up here. Great graphs. And look at how interesting this is in terms of number of users, activity, new users, activity. Doesn't look so good, does it? A little scary. So in looking at that all, I think you have to think, wow, this does not look very good. Would you want to put more money into this? Look at this. Everything has gone down. So the question is what do you do? Are we stuck? I think you do need to look at the global market, and everybody says this, but it's true. I mean, you can't. Omi and Ecomi and digital collectibles are going to follow those patterns, and everything is down right now. So the question really is this thing going to be able to stay alive and continue to progress until the other markets come back, and then it can, grow with those. And of course, we're looking for it to outpace the others, right? Because this is a speculative market. And personally, I think it will. I mean, one of the things that we've seen, love or hate it, I only say that because some people are very critical, and I've been very critical, is they continue to show growth and functionality in their product. In other words, they didn't have KYC before, now they have KYC. They didn't have a web app before, now they have a web app. Now, and it goes on and on. The list continues to go on. And these are, as we know, relatively sophisticated things, especially when you have them integrated into kind of a bleeding edge technology like blockchain. So one of the things that I have said in the past, and I think that I always think about, is I often say one of the most competitive advantages they have is their brands, which is, I think everybody agrees with that. Disney, Marvel, etc. It gives them a huge advantage over other projects in this space. But the other thing which I think is pretty important and is now becoming evident is that each of these pieces of functionality that they build out, a competitor is going to have to race and follow. Now, some of them are already there, like we saw HRO and some of these other blockchains are already there. They have great marketplaces. They have a lot of this functionality already. But I think of the other ones that are going to try and catch up. They are going to have to bolt on and put together all these different pieces to catch up, and it's going to be difficult. And each quarter that goes by that they add sophistication, add new partnerships, whatever it might be, their competitors are going to have to follow. And in this type of environment where it's difficult to raise money and whatnot, I think it's going to be hard. So I think that one of the interesting things is going to be is in this kind of lull, are they able to continue to push functionality to the point which, like for example, they just added one-of-one auctions, that they're so far ahead that once the market comes back, any competitor will be like, oh, I can't do it. And especially other licensors that are interested in, hey, now I think this is a thing and I want to get on board and make NFTs and sell them. Maybe they're just going to sign up with Vivi, which would be what we'd want. So it's very interesting to see. And I think that it's difficult to be patient, but I still think that Vivi right now still has the competitive advantage in all these different things. So I think it's just a waiting game, which is very difficult. But as I say in this channel, and really, many people say, is to do your own research. And my goal is to not only tell you what I think, what I'm doing, but try and show you the tools that I'm looking at. Obviously, I outlined those earlier. You should look at those. And so if I was going to say I'm going to make a big purchase, I'm going to go look at these indicators and let them show me whether or not I think the market's going up, whether it's going down, whether it's stagnated. Another big piece, which I think is coming online, once again, I'm sure a lot of the projects will have it, but is the API. So the API, they announced that they're partnering with a company called Vmate, and hopefully there'll be others. I'm going to actually I haven't had time, but I'm going to try to apply for it with my website, Vivi Rank. I don't know what is involved, but there's a couple critical pieces. Obviously, the market data will be out there, and that's fun, and we want to be able to do that. But I think one of the most important pieces, which we've talked about in the utility, is the ability to identify people whether or not they own a particular collectible. And that allows you to say, hey, I have this group, and in order to get in, you have to have a, Todd. And right now, it's kind of difficult. They're sending screenshots and all this other stuff. If they sell it, the person doesn't know. And that allows, I think, some of the other things, third parties, to hook into that API, like when we talk about a Disney park. If you have a wallet, then you would get these special benefits. They don't want to be looking at people's profiles and all this other stuff. Their computer systems need to hook into Vivi's computer systems or look at the blockchain and be able to identify things right away and then instantly be able to give you that benefit. So there's some infrastructure that it has to be built. And I think this API, now that it's coming online, that's a big piece of that. So that makes me very bullish on that element, the quote unquote utility element that we always talk about. So I think it's been an interesting year. I'm going to continue to reflect on it. I do think that it has showing that it's able to survive through this kind of bearish crypto world. And I think it's going to come out on the other side. And it'll be interesting to see which collectors stay with it, and if we can get new collectors. But I definitely think digital collecting is going to be a thing. That's what my overall kind of decision after looking at a lot of things and looking at it for over a year, that I'm excited for the future. I'm definitely going to keep watching it. And I thank you all for coming along for the ride. Take care.